We're here in Estonia, and this is Exercise Hedgehog 2022. Sat in this little quiet churchyard in a small Estonian town not far from the Latvian border, and this just feels quite different to other training exercises that I've filmed. I'm usually out in wood blocks or lost in the middle of Kenya somewhere, but this feels different. We're in a town. It's a normal functioning town. There's civilians walking around, there's school buses going past. Life's kind of going on around this training exercise, and the reason this is happening is because this is Exercise Hedgehog. It's Estonia's opportunity to mobilise most of its defence force and much of its land army to practice for a scenario where they're invaded by a neighbouring country. There's no prizes for guessing, who that scenario might be about. But yeah, it feels different.
An exercise on this scale, playing out in the midst of functioning towns and villages, is completely novel to me, and will be for many of the soldiers too.
Let's pause 1 second to wait for this train to go past. Sorry about that, lad. What's that like, just having trains rolling through and everything?
Yeah, it's really different. It's like a train, there's a playground over there, there's people living in houses, walking past. Kind of different. You've got to be a lot more careful with the tanks. So you're just driving down the road. Like yesterday, we was driving and a 7.5 ton lorry overtook us, and then slammed on in front. You're like, it's mental. It's what happens. It's like you've got to be really careful what you do.
With images from Ukraine beaming onto their televisions, Estonians are naturally more forgiving when a friendly tank rolls through their backyard. All around us, normal life goes on, whilst the exercise is in full swing.
It really is quite surreal. If you look just behind me here, we got a construction worker just going about his day. Meanwhile, there's a whole battle going on around him. And it says a lot about how accustomed the people here are to these defensive exercises going on.
We've been through some stuff, I would say, since we've been occupied twice and not that long ago. So I would say we have actually maybe a stronger bond with Ukraine than the rest of Europe right now. So we kind of know what they're going through, and we've seen it before here, like right here, happening to our grandparents and our families.
This is my second time in Estonia. The first was in 2019. I came out to film Opka Brit, the UK's contribution to NATO's enhanced forward presence. The most easterly flank of NATO, it's always been an important deployment, but now, more so. Exercise Hedgehog, or SEAL to the Estonians, is the largest military exercise to take place in the Baltics since 1991. Hedgehog. It's a bit of an odd name for a military exercise. I spoke to Colonel Metzer of the 2nd Infantry Brigade of the Estonian Defence Force, who gave me a lovely explanation.
Maybe it's a good time to tell what's this hedgehog it's all about, why it's chosen as a symbol for an exercise. Usually in the military it's some sword or a spike or a gun or whatever. But here it's hedgehog, totally harmless. But once you irritate him or her, what he does, takes a round shape and will poke with their thorns, right? That's also very Estonian, I believe. Defensive posture, peacefully living together with your neighbors. But bloody hell, if you if you provoke me, I will show you.
The Estonians are tasked with defending their forests, fields and towns from 2 battle groups made up of French, Danish and British troops. Some are playing enemy, while some are integrated with the Estonians. Everything I'd learned about combined arms in Poland was beginning to play out right in front of me.
So we're literally in the heat of battle here, and what we're seeing is exactly what everyone's been talking to us about the whole time we've been here. That synergy of all the different companies working together in a battle group. We've got the Challenger 2 putting heavy fire down on my right. We've got light infantry here behind me, with the Gympie putting down some heavy fire on the top of the rocks. And there's anti-tank crews all in the bushes, all surrounding us. And they're all working together to make sure that there's no armour, enemy armour that can operate and can challenge the Challenger 2. And that there's no other... Gonna have to catch up with these guys. This guy's just been told he's been hit. So that's the end of the game for him. The Brits are about 20 metres over here, just at that flank I was just filming from. There's about a section's worth. And I imagine that they're going to be making a pretty hard push this way any second. Yeah, here they come. Quite interesting development here. The Brits have taken an Estonian machine gun position here with a huge chain gun, and in the heat of battle they're going to try and repurpose it and use it as one of their own. So the Estonian guy who's obviously died in this exercise has given no pointers as to how it works, but you know, the British guy behind me is going to give it his best shot to figure out how it works.
It's a dream, mate. It's one of my dreams to fire one of these.
He says it's one of his dreams to fire one of these.
On the voice of the earlier.
Hedgehog will test the combat readiness of the Estonian Defence Force and its NATO allies.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Simon Worth. I'm the Commanding Officer of the Royal Tank Regiment Battlegroup. So we're forming part of the 2nd Estonian Brigade. They're a light brigade, and we provide an armoured element that increases their lethality and capability. It is an opportunity for allied nations to demonstrate our collective resolve and our collective sense of endeavour, but also to prepare and to come together and sharpen ourselves and prepare ourselves for whatever might follow.
This truly is a huge exercise, and I always find it fascinating watching NATO partners integrate together.
My name's Major Dave Jones. I'm Officer Commanding of 8 Armoured Engineer Squadron, as part of the Opcabrit 10 EFP Battlegroup. What's been really interesting about this exercise and this deployment has been working with the French and the Danes and providing combat engineers to enable their mobility and counter mobility throughout exercise Hedgehog. It's been really interesting, and you know, we know that cohesion is at the heart of NATO, and we're demonstrating that here on Opcabrit.
I'm always interested to see how different nations slot into a multinational battle group. Among the tractors and armour, I bumped into Nicolas, a French mortarman.
Nicolas, enchanté.
Enchanté.
Merci de nous avoir parlé aujourd'hui.
Mais il n'y a pas de souci.
Pour commencer, tu pourrais m'expliquer un petit peu votre fonction ici sur l'exercice Hedgehog?
Donc nous, ma fonctionnalité, je suis rattaché au groupe mortier. Donc moi, mon rôle dans le groupe, c'est pointeur. Donc c'est celui qui va guider un peu le mortier, si on peut dire ça vulgairement. C'est celui qui va orienter le mortier pour ensuite effectuer le tir. On a fait quelques partages avec les Britanniques, le groupe mortier britannique. Donc c'était assez sympa, on a pu voir les différences, comment ils travaillent.
Cool. Et tu penses que en gros, c'est ça que vous venez d'expliquer, l'importance de OTAN?
Ah oui, complètement. Complètement. On a le fait de travailler avec les Britanniques, ou que ce soit les Britanniques ou les autres nations, c'est vraiment important. Parce que si on est amené plus tard à se retrouver sur le même théâtre, si on a bossé ensemble auparavant, ça va vachement aider pour dérouler une mission. Et la coordination sera meilleure.
Merci beaucoup Nicolas.
Mais de rien, pas de souci.
Et enchanté et bonne chance avec le reste de l'exercice.
Merci beaucoup, bonne chance à vous.
Ciao.
Au revoir.
From everything I've seen, it's clear that NATO is keen to flex its muscles, and it's probably more important now than ever that they do. But ultimately, it's a defensive alliance. What I really wanted to know was what NATO means to the people on the ground.
At its core, NATO is an international organisation that seeks to mutually support its members to ensure that the sovereignty of its member states remains unviolated, and that works towards a stable international order.
What does it mean to you?
What that means to me is peace at home. It's pretty simple.
It's a military exercise on a scale not seen in this region for over 30 years. Estonia shares a border with Russia, and following recent events in Ukraine, no one here is under any illusions of the threat that comes from the east. From my time here in this beautiful country, and speaking to the people that would stand up and defend it, I leave with no doubt in my mind that if an unwanted visitor were to cross the border, they're in for a hell of a fight.